Welcome to the Laws of Life webcast network. The Laws of Sex starts now.
Hey everybody, hope everyone's having a good night. It's Dr. Stacy and we're here with the Laws of Sex with Blanca and I, ready to talk about something fun.
Yes.
Actually, every week is something fun, but this is another something fun.
Always.
Yes, yes. So yeah, I was once again with all the people that are engaging with me on my website, on my Facebook group. I get a lot of ideas of what to do for the week. So that's kind of how I come up with my subjects. So speaking of, if you want to go to the next page, I'll show everybody what the Facebook group is all about. It's for women only, and it's called Intimacy, Sex, and Empowerment. And like I said, I get a lot of my ideas from that group. There's just a group of amazing women. There's probably about 1,300 people right now. I just started it not even a year ago.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, and I love when people get engaged because it helps me get my subjects out to be able to get out there and give all you people the information that hopefully can help you. But it's a nice place to be able to just put out concerns, ask about dating, relationships, marriage, sex, intimacy, all that good stuff. So for all the women out there, definitely go on and say hello and sign up and engage. It'd be great to hear everybody's questions.
Yeah, it's a really nice group because women can talk about sex and intimacy and issues, and it's judgment-free zone, so there's no...
And it's not public, it's private. So definitely not something that every single person on your timeline will see.
Okay, well, that's good. You know what? Discretion and privacy are important on these topics. I love
Absolutely. So to go on to the quote of the week, which will kind of give you an idea of what my subject is about. It's actually about role play. And the quote is from a lady called Mia Yamanuchi. She actually wrote a book called Embrace Your Sexual Self, A Practical Guide for Women. And I love this quote. Let me just read it first. The sexual stage invites lovers to become whoever they want, enticed with endless possibilities of characters, roles, situations, and scenarios to play act. It's a chance for us to trade in our self-imposed labels and everyday identity for something a little more adventurous.
I like it.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I love that quote is because talking about the subject of role play and different types of play acting, that brings us to our subject. First of all, as I say on here, it takes immense trust to be able to engage in these types of role play acts. And the quote kind of allows you to understand the purpose of role play is to be able to enjoy different, like they said, the self-imposed labels, because every day you're given a label, whether you're like having to be a mom, you're having to be a provider as you know, a spouse, a school dad, a work mom, whatever it is. But then when you get into the bedroom, that role play can actually allow you to act out these different scenarios and allow you to actually have all these different characters that maybe you never thought that you could have, or
you
that
gotta
you
mix it up. So why do you think people are so afraid to role play? I mean, what do you think?
Well, first of all, it's can be a little awkward if you've never kind of gotten out of your shell of the so-called norm, what we call vanilla sex, which is just the typical missionary everyday type sex. A lot of people don't know how to communicate it, which I'll talk about through this webcast, but a lot of people don't know how to communicate their needs, how to fantasize, how to, I mean, it's awkward for a lot of people if you've never done that.
Again, it goes to that rule, stop worrying about being embarrassed and just live your life. Does it not?
Get wild, yes.
Get crazy, have some fun. I mean, if you can't trust the person that you're with, then I don't think you should be with them if you can't be yourself.
Right, and that's what it's all about, is being your authentic self. And especially when it comes to sex, people can be their authentic self out in the real world. They are who they are, but then they come back into the bedroom and a lot of people are kind of afraid. They're afraid to express, they're afraid. I think one of the main fears is what their partner's gonna say.
Yeah.
you
It's
know?
normal. The fear of being judged is the worst fear
Right.
in the world.
Right. So if you are going to go into this whole life of role playing or whatever, I
Yes.
think that the communication part with your partner is going to be the important thing, to be able to say, listen, I want to discuss something with you, and I don't want to have any negative back and forth. I don't want to feel judged. I just want you to listen and say, let's see what we can do to spice things up, to, try something different, to actually have a character of who we want to be.
I have a question. Is it normally men or women that initiate the role play conversation?
I mean, in general, men tend to initiate more than women, but when it comes to role play, sometimes women are more apt to bringing it up, because there's certain types of role play where men may feel like one of their fantasies may be sounding emasculating, or they may be nervous to discuss, which is another thing we'll talk about, nervous to discuss it because they are afraid that their wife might think that they're a sissy, or their wife might think, or their partner might think that, they're not masculine enough if they're sharing certain fantasies or certain role plays that they're interested in.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, I
So,
love how you're opening up the conversation on this sexy subject, and let's get fired up about it. Now, I'm not going to choose this outfit. I'm just saying. But that wouldn't be my look. I wouldn't choose that. I'd probably go with a different concept.
yeah,
But go on.
well,
So what is the definition of the theme for tonight?
I mean, basically with role play, it kind of is what it is. It's two or more people that are acting out roles in a sexual fantasy or a scenario. And I put a couple of examples of the scenarios. So like playing role play, you might get dressed up, like in that picture, you might get dressed up as a nurse's uniform, and you could have a patient, your partner can be your patient, or you could have a doctor and a nurse. Or you could have somebody who wants to pretend that they're going to a strip club but don't actually want to go. So you could have a stripper and a client, and the client could be putting money in the partner's underwear, or things like that. A teacher and a student, an executive and a secretary. Different types. It's almost like power dynamics a lot of times. If you see that there's one person, I don't want to say above, but it's like, let's say you are a housewife and you bring in a handyman. You have that image of, I want you to be a handyman. I want you to have your shirt off. I want your tools here. I want you to hammer me, things like that.
Whatever it takes, right? You've got to script that segment, everything has to be scripted.
Right. So it's kind of like just trying to figure out what your idea is of a role that maybe you want to play, or, some people that are, let's say, doctors are always in charge, always, needing to be on top of everything. Sometimes their role play may be something that they want to, instead of being like, here, you have master and slave. Maybe instead of being the master, the one in charge, you want to be more of the submissive slave, because your whole life is all about being in charge. So that's that switch of the role play.
You want to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. So one of the most popular role play, do you know which one that is? Before you turn the page, what do you think is the most popular role play act?
Is it on this list?
Nope, it's on the next page, so don't turn it. I want to see if you know.
Who out there watching? I want to thank everybody watching live. You've got a bunch of people watching you tonight.
Anyone have ideas out there? What do you think the most popular role play act?
I would say the doctor nurse has got to be one of the most popular.
Anyone else have any ideas? You could post it in the comments.
Anyone else? What do you think is the most popular role play? Put it in the, and what do they win if they get the right answer?
How about if they get the right answer, we can give them $25 towards any item in my shop.
Oh my God, that's a really good bet. All right, $25. What is?
But I'll tell you, the answer is not one of those choices.
Fair enough. What is the number one role play scenario requested for a $25 gift card on the answer to Dr. Stacy's question. I'll repeat it one more time. What is the #1 preferred role play scenario? A $25 gift card on the winning answer. All right, let's see if anybody answers that. So what would be your, what in your experience, what's the most popular on this list?
On the list, I would say one of the most popular ones are, because a lot of the role play has to do with BDSM also, which is the bondage, dominatrix, submissive, sadomasochism. The master and slave is probably, I would think, one of the more popular ones on the list, because you have a little bit more of the bondage, where a lot of times people can be more submissive in life and being yes ma'am, yes sir, if they have a job, if they have to follow the rules. The master slave can be more about the bondage, can be more about tying up, can be more about things that are a little bit more taboo, so to speak. And that, I think, is probably one of the more popular role plays within the bedroom.
Okay. Well, we don't have any, we do have a question from the audience, but let's answer the question with the next slide first, and then I'll tell you the question. So interesting. I wouldn't have predicted this one.
Stranger sex. Not strange sex, meaning like weird sex, but stranger sex. The most popular thing that a lot of couples do, first of all, it helps spice things up. Second of all, it's easy. You don't need any so-called equipment or toys or anything to do. But when they say stranger sex, it means a couple going to a bar. You see, like here, you have some women at the bar. Someone goes to the bar, they pretend that they're on their own, and their partner comes over to the bar and starts talking to the other person who's their partner. And then they start kind of like, oh, can I buy you a drink? What are you doing here? You look sexy, and kind of pretending you don't know each other. And then you kind of say, you want to go back to my place, and you kind of have, I'm actually getting goosebumps talking about it. But that's kind of what is a very popular thing to do with people that are trying to spice things up.
Got it. Well, it's something that, all of us, most of us have been single, right, before getting into a relationship. And so that chapter of our life can be exciting. And so I'm not really surprised, actually, because this role play sort of takes you back to your single days when you're out there on the hunt, flirting. And flirting's fun. It's fun.
But that's what people forget. They forget about that flirting. They forget about that excitement of the hunt. They forget about that feeling to go up to somebody at a bar and start talking to them and start flirting with them. A lot of these couples miss that. Yeah. So this is a great role play act.
Now, this is a question someone in the live audience asked. The question is, why can I never reach orgasm? Do you have any feedback? It's not directly related to our topic tonight, but it is a question.
But it can be.
I want to thank you for the question.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, I don't know if it's a man or a woman. So
I think it's a woman.
Okay, because I was going to say a lot of times it has to do with a few things. 75% of women cannot have orgasms through sex, but you have to make sure that masturbation can be very helpful, but doing different things that create desire, that create fantasy, that create imagination, curiosity, these types of things, if you're with a partner, can be very stimulating and build up. Because so many times you get into a bedroom, you start doing something and you're doing the same thing all the time, that you don't have that foreplay. So these type of acts can be really, really good for foreplay, which can help orgasm, but also position. Definitely if you want a little bit more information on your specific, whoever's writing it, on your specific situation, feel free to message me privately so I can get a little more information. But definitely start thinking of fantasies in your mind and sharing it with your partner, and that can really help with that desire and turn on.
That's great feedback. Great feedback.
So,
and you're right, because when things get too repetitive, then the stimulation exits the scene. So this strategy of engaging in role play keeps it fresh.
Right. And talking about fantasies and helping with, foreplay and orgasms, to get started with role play, the first thing you want to do is think of what a fantasy might be. Think of something that, a lot of people I talk to, they're like, well, I don't even know how to fantasize. I don't know. Think of a scenario, go online and say, search role play ideas, and you'll get different scenarios, basically similar to what I explained on the couple things before. Different scenarios: doctor, nurse, teacher, student. Obviously they have to be 18 or older. Make sure. But think about your fantasies, discuss them with your partner, and that's kind of that time where you say to your partner, I want to talk about some things. Doesn't mean we have to do it, but let's have that discussion. Talk about it. Negotiate your boundaries. If it is something you're willing to do, talk about it with your partner. Make sure, what are your boundaries? What are you comfortable with? And take things slow. Give yourself 15 minutes or so to get used to that fantasy. Because like we were talking about before, it can be awkward. It can be a little uncomfortable trying something new if you've never tried it before and you're so used to doing just regular vanilla type sex. So at that point, if you feel comfortable, that's when you want to start gathering accessories. If you're into the bondage, if you're into outfits, if you're into anything, you can gather different types of accessories, so that way when you are ready to do it, you have the stuff with you, and just have fun with it and debrief. And the next page kind of explains what debrief means, because debriefing is very important, because you want to make sure that the person is comfortable with how things went. Ask them questions. What's your favorite part that we did? What do you want to change about it? Is there anything that you don't want to keep on there? Do you want to leave something out? What more can we add? That debriefing, I think, really is where that connection with your partner happens.
I love it. A little bit of pre-communication.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very important, because after you're all done with everything, it might feel a little awkward. Like, what did we just do? That was really weird. So I think that after you're all done, asking these questions can make it a better experience next time, or something else that you might want to try for next time.
Well, that's one of the things you're always mentioning about the art of communication is so important.
Right. Especially in this field, in relationships, when it comes to sex, because there's so much shame and guilt and taboo to it, that if you can't discuss it with your partner, you're just gonna get what you get.
And your friend Sean Edwards says, "Hi, Dr. Stacy."
Hi, Sean.
So what's next on the agenda?
Some facts about it, about role playing and the importance of it in relationships. It's basically just saying that, 8 out of 10 people who do role play in the relationships are happy and satisfied in their sexual relationship. I don't know if you can say that with people who are not role playing, because there may be an element of excitement missing, an element of communication, an element of trust. I think that just being open to communicating about role play and actually acting on the role play keeps that excitement alive in relationships.
Without a doubt.
I mean, you can see how that could happen.
So am I seeing a paint battle in this one image?
Well, yeah, I took that because I wanted to have something there that could be fun. I was just thinking about role playing. It wasn't anything that I saw anywhere, but when I saw that picture, I was like, you know what? That would be cool to have a painter and a paintee. Someone that the role play is to just have your partner paint you.
Oh my God, that's a great idea. See, I didn't even think about that when I looked at the picture. I was just like, that looks fun. And then that's brilliant. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
hey,
because
has anybody out there watching ever painted their partner? Let's see. Let's take a poll.
I have things on my website at the on my shop at drstacyfriedman.com where they have different types of things that you can paint. They have like chocolate things that you can lick off the body. You can paint with the actual chocolate. There's different edible, not markers, but edible gels that you can use to paint on. So having your partner as a canvas and playing around and doing things like that could be fun.
I mean, do they have any colored edible paint? Because the chocolate isn't the most fun color. Do they make
No. I have, there's definitely some edible paints that I have that I think it comes in a 4-pack. It's like red, yellow, blue. And of course, you can do your mixology and change colors.
You are impressive. I mean, there's nothing you don't have in your store. It's like
Well, there's
incredible.
over 40,000 SKUs. So if anyone needs anything, anytime, I probably have it.
That is seriously amazing. All right, so everybody, this weekend, your homework is to paint your partner. Get with the
Yeah.
program.
And then let me know how it goes.
Exactly, and tell us about it. We want to hear. So,
So,
what's about this one? This is an interesting one.
well, this was the question that made me want to do this about role play.
Oh, wow.
Someone had asked me, they said, my partner has always been normal in bed, but now he likes to wear my nightgown and role play when we have sex. At first, I was upset, but now I've gotten used to it as long as it doesn't happen too often. Still, I'm worried might turn out to be transgender or gay. So there's two things about this I wanted to discuss. First of all, when they say that your husband or whatever, your partner, doesn't say husband, sorry, your partner has always been normal in bed. I don't like to use the word normal because what is normal? Normal is what you and your partner enjoy. And I think what happens is when you try to put the word normal in sex, it sometimes can make your partner or other people that you're connecting with feel like if they like something that is not normal, that something's wrong with them. So let's just take that word normal. I would say more vanilla. That's kind of a word or a term that you use when you have just the regular missionary type, you know, the same, just not really kinky or doing anything outside of the typical relationship, sexual relationship. As far as they might turn out to be transgender or gay, no one just turns out to be that way. They are born that way. There could be fluidity to it. Sometimes they find out later on in life that that's what they are. So yes, that is a possibility that maybe this is something that has been deeply rooted for years, that maybe they're exploring. Just because you like to wear nightgowns and things does not mean you're gay. It also doesn't mean that you're transgender. It's just something that could be a valued discussion with your partner. But if they say, no, it's because I enjoy the way it feels on my skin, then just drop it. It's something that, like I said before, with the people who maybe have stressful jobs or always have to be manly, especially the men who want to kind of explore their feminine side, wearing nightgowns, the softness, the silkiness could be actually a big turn on for a man because it makes them think of women. Doesn't make them necessarily think that they want to be a woman. Sometimes it's because they truly feel that sensation of the silk on their body and it turns them on. So
it just goes back to being non-judgmental and
right.
communicating. I mean, and communicating about what people are feeling and just being open about it.
Right. And in this person's case, the fact that they said that at first I was upset, but now I've gotten used to it. That initial reaction is very, very common because it is a concern for some people. And that's why I say to this person, if they can, if they're watching this, to make sure that you have that discussion if that is a concern and listen to your partner. And if your partner says, listen, I'm not gay, I am not transgender, I just enjoy the way it feels to have that silkiness on my body, then just appreciate that. And like you said, it doesn't have to happen too often, but think of a fantasy that you might enjoy.
There you go. Just never stop talking to each other and work through it. And that's the key. If you can't feel comfortable talking to someone, that's the foundation of it all. Absolutely. So you remind us of that. So going to the topic of Toy Talk Thursday, what's on tap?
Toy Talk Thursday. You can find my shop at drstacyfriedman.com. Just click on the shop. And don't forget, every time I do my shows, TTT20. Sounds like I'm saying
right.
20 for
I love that code. It's a great code.
Toy Talk Thursday 20 for 20% off your entire order. These are just a couple of things that you can take advantage of for any type of role play. You can pretend you're a police officer, you can pretend you're a maid, you can pretend that you've gotten, hooked up and blindfolded and, you know, all these different types of things. You could just look up under lingerie or BDSM or blindfolds or things like that and try to find anything there. There's so many choices and so many cute outfits that people can wear. They have nursing outfits, you know, things like that, that can be enjoyable to try something. If you wanted to do something in your home that's a little bit more simple, the outfits are really a quick and easy way to be able to start something, some type of role play, and not being too wild and crazy if you're just now kind of stepping your foot in it.
It's fun. I love how you have so much variety in your store. It's really incredible. Did it take a long time to get that degree of variety?
No, because I had lots of help.
Oh, well, that's good. And,
lots of help. When you're connected to a place that has lots of options.
That's great.
So this one is a sexational position. And what I like about this is because a lot of the positions they show are heterosexual. And we have a lot of people, especially that I'm in the field and working with the LGBTQ community. I've tried to find something that you can be anybody and not have to have a certain position. But in this position, it's kind of nice because you don't have to necessarily be a man and a woman. It could be anybody. And the fun position is just laying on your back and having someone lay on top of you. And what's kind of cool about it is the person necessarily underneath feels a little bit more trapped, but the person on top also feels completely open and vulnerable because there's nobody on top of them, but the person on the bottom can be reaching their arms around, could be touching things, could be touching down there, can be, you know, depending if it's a man or a woman on top, playing with their balls, their clit, their this, their that. It's just a little bit of a erotic type of position, I thought.
No, I think that's great. I think it's unique. You know, you forget about that option. So it's good to be reminded.
Lots of options.
I love it. I love it. I love how you're creative every single week with new ideas. And what's your number one law of sex this week?
It's basically trying new things. Trying new things are going to teach you a lot about yourself, about your sexuality, about your partner, your desires, their desires. So make sure that you stay curious and open-minded to your experiences because you're going to have a very exciting, fulfilling sex life if you do that. And that is my law of sex for this week.
That is incredible. I love it. I love it. Love it. And everybody, for those of you who don't know, you can download a free ebook or paperback on Amazon by going to drstacyfriedman.com. Just click the book link and read this incredible book, Confessions and Lessons of a Sexpert. So that looks like a phenomenal read, and I'm sure it has a lot of tips and strategies. What do you think is the number one law of sex people are going to get out of this read?
To be able to enjoy themselves in order to be able to enjoy others.
It's wonderful. And I see it's got your signature favorite color, purple, even on the cover of your book.
Purple. Yes, purple. I just wanted to do a little shout out real quick. Two of my very good friends just bought this for me, which I was going to try to wear it tonight, but you can't see it in the video. So.
Oh, that's right. I saw that on Facebook. What an amazing present that is. Let's talk about
Natalie got it. Thank you.
Oh, your friends are amazing. They totally hooked you up. And you are a clinical sexologist.
Say that 10 times fast. Clinical sexologist and certified sex coach. And I like to always tell everybody that my passion is to help you create yours. And that is where I get the purple from, because purple is a very passionate color and I'm very passionate about what I do. And you can find me on drstacyfriedman.com. You can text me or call 561-899-7669. And I'm all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube. Just look up Dr. Stacy Friedman and you'll find me. And anytime you miss any of these, I post them all on Facebook as well, and also on YouTube. So that way you can always go back to some of the older ones that we did.
Well, this has been an incredible episode of the Laws of Sex. I always learn so much, and I love your Laws of Sex. I think Dear Dr. Stacy and Laws of Sex are my two favorite segments. What's your favorite segment?
What's my favorite segment about Sex?
In your show, which one do you love talking about the most?
Oh gosh, how do you pick the favorite thing of sex? You know what I like? Honestly, I like answering questions.
Yes.
I really do, because I like being a place where people feel safe to open up. And my idea about sex is being able to spread sex positivity and be able to help others appreciate it as much as I do. So keep the questions coming, because I need to, no pun intended, keep the questions coming. I need to have something for next week. So send your questions and keep listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stacy, for all you do to keep the topic on the laws of sex open and judgment-free. Everybody stay in touch with Dr. Stacy Friedman. Join her incredible Facebook group and have a wonderful night, everybody. And thanks for watching The Laws of Sex. Thanks, Dr. Stacy.
Have a good night.
Good night.